and beyond, from the world past hope and fear, I bid you, genie, now appear.
You've been through many lifetimes, many lifetimes.
I like the props.
We want you to tell us about your life as a sadhu.
The sadhu.
You were a sadhu
As
in a previous
sadhu.
life.
That's like a hairdo. Sad hairdo.
Tell us what the sadhu's life was like. The first sadhu you ever met. What did he do? Where did you meet this first sadhu? You're now under my power. Who was the first sadhu you ever
First
met?
sadhu I met was a fellow. He had trident sticking through his cheeks. No blood. He had his guru pinned to his breast. It was with a nail went through, and then just a wire hanging down. He had this picture, like a Victorian picture. Then he wanted to smoke a chillum. He wanted some hashish.
Where was this?
Kathmandu.
Now, this proved his belief in Shiva or something? Why was he like this?
Well, sadhus go through it's a whole life experience.
Like, you aren't born like a sadhu, right? Or what?
No. You are typically a male.
There are female sadhus?
Yes, female sadhus, but they in India they have this strange, they had this strange custom where if the husband died, the woman was supposed to throw herself on the funeral pyre. You know, she was supposed to commit suicide. I forget what they call it. But then in the I think Nehru maybe they started homes for the widows, and a widow then widows have been accepted into the sadhu culture. So they're basically elderly women, and they're called Mataji.
What is that?
Mother, Mataji.
What?
You know, interesting. And they have a real high stature in terms of in the Hindu religion. There was a story when we were in Kathmandu. It was for when right after the king died, and the king was buried. The king died around the end of January, and there was all the sadhus had gathered for Shiva Ratri, which is a Shiva's night, which is the new moon in February. And there was this woman, Mataji, and she really liked her boys, so to speak, because she could cook them. She would always cook them. But she also liked acid LSD, which she took took daily, you know. But she went back to. She was from Benares, Varanasi, the holy city, and she left in it was the middle of February. And when Shaheen and I, this fellow I was traveling with, decided to go south, people said you want to take a message to Mataji in Varanasi. I go, sure, we'll take a message, you know, and things like this. And they said, well, she won't be very hard to find. You know, you just have you go to the center of Varanasi and Benares, and you ask for Mataji, and somebody will be able to lead you to it. And the message was that her grandson, who had lost his mother in one of the floods of the Ganges that spring or that winter, was fine. He was with relatives. He was in Kathmandu. So Shaheen and I take off on a little Volkswagen bus, drive through India down to, come out of Kathmandu down to Roxall and cross the border. and drive through Bihar State, and we end up, I think after maybe a week, we end up in Varanasi. Or the outside of Benares, and there's the Indians have this great. They have these guest houses that were set up by the British, called dak bungalows, and what they are is basically a little compound with many little rooms, houses. Not like a motel, but it's like a little village. But it's all walled in to protect from all sorts of things, including tigers. But so we pulled into this dak bungalow outside of Varanasi, and every Indian asks you, hey, Saab, what's your purpose in life? Purpose. I'm going to Varanasi, and I'm going to meet. I have to find Mataji. And as soon as I said that, the guy he backed up, and he was going, Saab, no. You can't see her. You're not Hindu.
That's got to be a big thing.
And so I said, yeah. And so I said, well, we just have, But Shaheen and I was starting to get disappointed because he was really adamant. He said, there's no way, he was adamant, there's no way you will see her. And finally he goes, because she's the holy mother of Benares. I said, what? It's like, I don't know, it's like, the pope, the cardinal or something in the thing. And so we're a little disappointed, but we go into Benares anyway. And you ever been to an Indian city? Anybody?
I've never been to India. No.
It's just a sea of humanity. I mean, it's just unbelievable amount of people. You have people walking down the street. They have rolls of wire over their shoulder, and they're making jewelry. They're bending little, those little bangles. You see Indians wear, things like this. Putting beads on their pockets, things like this. And it's like Times Square. They're walking around, and on the other side, right here on the then you have this leper community, and it just, and beggars and business people too, all sorts of, and all of a sudden, Shaheen and I are walking, we're in the middle of this mass. Everybody stops, and they part, and about 100 feet away is Mataji going, welcome to my city. And we almost shit in our pants.
Kind of like a Mother Teresa moment or something.
But and she then invites us into her house, and her house was not much. I mean, we're in the courtyard, and she washes our feet. And then she takes us on down to the waterfront. We walk through the lepers, and she talks to them, and we go down and they have these boats where tourists can take, and these guys will row you out, so you can see the fires, the burning mats, all the cremations and things. And we go down in these boats, the boatsmen, I mean, they're stumbling over themselves to get her to come to their boat. We get in the boat, and we go out, and we go over to the burning mats, and we pull up. And of course, Shaheen understood Hindi, I didn't. And he just said, well, I'm going to stay here. And Mataji took me out of the boat. We went up and we went to she reached into a burning funeral pyre, and she grabbed some flesh and she put it on my forehead. And we walked into a Hindu temple, and I wasn't Hindu.
So you knew you were in a different world at that point.
I was under her care because there were other sadhus in there, and I never forget this temple. I mean, it's like there was a cage, and there was this golden statue of Shiva. It was bigger than life size. And underneath, beside them, there was this pit, and then people would just come and they just threw coins into that, you know.
Don't some of these temples have like billions of dollars in gold?
Oh, there's so much gold. There's so,
There was some temple they found recently had like $10 billion in gold because people give so much money to them.
yes, I would have. Well, they deal in gold. You wear your wealth in gold. You know, even the Tibetans. You know, they have their wealth. They have turquoise. They have silver.
Yeah.
They have gold. You know, it's you know, gold earrings. You know.
No.
But it's yeah. Yeah, I was this.
These are experiences like that most Western people don't get to have. How do you think you got into this?
Into that temple.
Yeah.
Mataji took me in,
Yeah.
and what happened is then the people started. They saw that there was a heathen inside this temple,
Heathen.
and they started yelling.
Yeah.
And all she had to do is she walked towards them and she went, "Jau," which is the phrase is to go away, and they scattered. They went away. But I'll tell you, I was shaken. It was not a pleasant experience. I had to make a chillum for these sadhus too. I had to make some, you know, put some hash in it, you know, and smoke a chillum with it. Boy,
That's an amazing experience that you got to get in on that. Now, did you see Mother Teresa at all when you were over there?
No.
No.
You know who has met her though? You know, Sue Both met her.
No, I don't know who that is.
You know, she went to India. I don't know, geez, maybe about 10 years ago, and went to Calcutta, and just happened to be walking by Mother Teresa's, you know, hostel or whatever it was, you know, hospital, and she came out, and Sue met her.
Now, Mother Teresa and this Mataji and others, I mean, you've mentioned a couple of different women. Were women more, you know,
Well,
honored in
Mother
India?
Teresa,
You said that they were burned in these fires and everything else, but did women have another status beyond that? Were they more honored? I mean, in a certain
no,
way?
I think they were chattel. They were property.
They were just property. But like Mataji, like you just said, I mean,
Well,
she was kind of a...
Mataji, for some reason, she had been widowed, and I don't know. Maybe maybe in some sort of the caste system. You know, the caste system is very powerful.
That's something I've never understood, and it still exists.
It still exists, yes. And it's all by the color of your skin.
The darker you are, the lower you are.
The caste.
Sounds like American.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
It's weird.
Yeah.
Why are people darker in India? What leads to like somebody being darker in India than being lighter? I mean, what's involved in that?
Well, it must be the genes. I mean, you know, coming from, you know, because India has had a lot of trade with the Phoenicians, you know, so they with Africa and with,
Uh-huh.
you know, my friend Shaheen was from South Africa. His father was arrested with Nelson Mandela, and so Shaheen could not go back to South Africa. He would have been arrested.
Hmm.
So my gig was that I could take and I could erase his numbers on his passport, you know, with a razor blade or a knife, and then pen them in. I mean, it's something you can't do now, but I mean.